On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. I know I am, and I'm going to tell you why. A lot of people are like, oh my God, Dan, what are you talking about? There's panic going on. All these horrible things happened yesterday. No, not even close. This is what's necessary. And it's as much kind of like where we finally got with Joe Biden, in my opinion. This is that place where people finally see what's actually happening. This is the place where the curtain's been pulled back and we see the dude pulling the levers and the gears. This is the place where it becomes obvious to the 80%. We needed a great example, aka Mamdani, right? Zoran. It's so crazy, the name. Nonetheless, I know a lot of people are panicked. We've got some stuff. I've got Trump talking about it. Certainly we've got Trump even truthing this. And so it begins. Now, this is super important. This is going to bring up a lot of things. And we're going to play the entire speech. I don't want to get totally too far ahead of myself. But Trump talked to the senators, and I don't know if House was in there. I think leadership specifically. It was a reasonably small room. And they're basically putting the plan in place of what needs to happen. I actually think it was maybe the Senate, but whatever. There's, 53 of them. We are at a place where it does sound like we might need to do something a little more extreme to get through this. And Trump is going to explain why. And I've been kind of anti the getting rid of the filibuster, but I will say I'm seeing the benefits of it. And realizing that this is one of those things where if we don't pass anything, and he talks about this, if we don't pass anything over the next, year for sure, but next 3 years, if we need 60% to get to that, we'll never get to that. Nothing will ever be passed. We might never even open the government again, which has benefits possibly too. But now I will say, Supreme Court, we're going to be talking about that today too. This is huge, huge, huge case. The tariff case. I actually listened to the entire thing, good chunk of it. I don't think it was the entire thing. I think I came in a little late. But I'll tell you, nothing jumped out at me as real good. We're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. But I really feel like I can kind of break it into the simple points. I think ultimately it's going to pass, but I think it might be a 5-4 situation. We'll see. I don't think this is going to be an 8-1 like I was initially expecting. It was just, I don't know, the arguments made were strange. And like I said, I think I missed a lot of the initial opening arguments. I just heard mostly just the counter arguments. And I mean, I felt somewhat weak, but I got where the point was coming from. So, I mean, like I said, this is the law. This is the fun stuff. I love it. So we've got major things happening. And they all kind of spin together in a weird way. The tariffs. If Trump is allowed to do the tariffs, and this is after listening to this, I didn't quite realize this. There's actually we've got to give the money back thing if they decide it's not legal for him to do tariffs. So the money he's taken in already, we'd literally have to give back. Now, we know the deep state wants that. We know they're going to push for that. And again, I didn't hear the arguments properly for our side of the fence. I heard kind of more of the close of it. I heard their closing arguments. There was a little bit of stuff I heard, and it was just like, really? I don't know. I didn't feel like he was making a strong argument. I felt like the argument that was very strong against. But again, this is power that's been given to Congress. It seemed like the Supreme Court was actually more interested, at least the ones you would expect, was more interested in forwarding these questions. But if tariffs pass, and I'm not sure when they're going to announce the answer to this, but it is very important, so it'll probably happen soon. If tariffs pass, Trump has a huge arsenal, because now all of a sudden, all these many billions of dollars, possibly $100+ billion, can now be used however he wants. And government shutdown can happen. I think the timing of this is all part of the movie. Okay, so we're supposed to be on the edge of our seats right now going, oh my God, we just got a communist in New York. Yep. That's exactly what happened. And we're about to have this tariff thing happen, which means the government may not open back up anytime soon. We can fund SNAP, or at least the way we want to fund it. We can do a few things now, maybe even pay the military. Maybe. I don't know how far $100 billion goes when it comes to paying the actual soldiers, but I think many of the generals would sacrifice some of their money in order to make sure the soldiers got paid. So there's probably ways we can work some things out in the meantime. All the while, that's a process that's happening in the background. Now, everybody's freaking out about the shiny thing over there in New York. But really, these are super ultra blue places that elected super ultra blue people. They elected a communist, and then we also elected for an attorney general someone that literally wished death on their political opponent. And here we are. This is us as a nation. Now, again, this cancer has spread. And it needs to be like, you can't solve a problem within your body unless you realize there's a problem within your body, right? Guess what, guys? We have a problem within our national body. General Mike Flynn brought this up, that Charlie Kirk's post says from the grave. But I mean, yeah, Charlie Kirk's got posts for everything we're going through now. It's pretty funny. Mamdani is a Muslim socialist. If he wins, you'll see what we've been warning about. This is necessary. We need to see. We do. It's not for you and I. We're the ripplers. We need to help with this messaging. That's our job, frankly. I wish more people really, truly understood that. Right? Getting spun off into directions where we're all talking about, again, Charlie Kirk, I love the guy. But again, it's somewhat of a lot of people are swirling in these weird eddies, We've got Israel's another one. Epstein's another one. And the next election, the next president is another one. And these are places where a lot of people are spending a lot of energy, and these are things that are not forwarding what we have to deal with. I mean, the filibuster does. Getting Congress to maybe open the government back up or something does. The tariffs do. Getting elections under control do. Paper ballots do. We need to move legislation forward, or else we will look like we had total control of the House, total control of the Senate, total control of the presidency, and we couldn't get anything done. We'll guarantee lose the midterm and guarantee lose the next president, and this country will be guarantee lost. So that's not what we want, is it? So we need to be focused on the message that matters, not so much the message that we want to talk about. I get that. There's things I love talking about. I spent a little time doing it, and I think I poo-poo some of my people in my audience because I like to do it. So I get it. You guys are well aware of some of the crazy crap I talk about. Some of you are totally on board with the crazy train, and some of you are like, Dan, you kind of push me every time you do that. We're all coming at this from our angle. Now, again, for me, the bigger picture is outside the politics, but forwarding this and forwarding people's understanding of this is exactly in line with what I'm here to do. J.D. Vance posted this, and I thought it was beautiful, and then we're going to, of course, get into the specifics, but I wanted to start here because this is really, I think, kind of a good reality to start from. He says, I think it's idiotic to overreact to a couple of elections in blue states, but a few thoughts. One, Scott Pressler, TPUSA, and a bunch of others have been working hard to register voters. I said it in 2022, and I've said it repeatedly since. Our coalition is lower propensity, and that means we have to do better at turning out voters than we have in the past. Two, we need to focus on our home front. The president has done a lot that has already paid off in lower interest rates and lower inflation, but we inherited a disaster from Joe Biden, and Rome wasn't built in a day. We're going to keep on working to make a decent life affordable to this country, and that's the metric by which we'll ultimately be judged in 2026 and beyond. The infighting is stupid. Number three, the infighting is stupid. I care about my fellow citizens, particularly young Americans, being able to afford a decent life. I care about immigration and our sovereignty, and I care about establishing peace overseas so our resources can be focused at home. If you care about those things too, let's work together. Now, again, that I would put out to your Nancy, or your, not Nancy Mace, but your Massey and your Marjorie Taylor Greens and your all those crazy, Freedom Caucus people. Like, This is ultimately what most of us are trying to do. Again, I'm not even a Republican, and I'm on board with this for sure as a key thing. There's some things where I'm like, not as fond of, but whatever. Right? I'm going to choose my battles, that's for sure. But all of this is key. This is stuff that everybody really cares about. I think JD's doing a good job when it comes to being that. Now, the algorithm is dividing us. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on this, but ultimately what this comes down to is any of us using social media, if you click on anything that's somewhat similar, ever, could have been 4 weeks ago, that programs the AI algorithm. That programs the algorithm so it will just serve you up more stuff like that. One of the problems we have is many of us are being programmed by algorithms. Maybe we spend a bunch of time in Twitter. There's an algorithm there. All they're trying to do is keep you engaged in the app. That is the job of the algorithm. They don't give a crap about your morals or any of that. Musk isn't that. He wants you in the app all day long. Now, I don't think they're abusing it per se, but our brains are wired in specific ways, and sometimes we seem to enjoy the reward, if you will, right? I feel like Pavlov's dog here, but that's kind of what it is. Right? You get your little reward, you get your dopamine hit, and then you watch something like that again, and something like that again. I've gone down those rabbit holes before, you know? You get stuck watching a bunch of crazy videos of Karens getting beat up by people, and you're like, oh, and you know, at first you're like, yeah, I love it, and then you're like, whoa, something's wrong with me right now. Why am I fixated on this? Why am I enjoying this? It's the algorithm. This is being used to separate and divide all of us. And most of us that spend any amount of time in social media are being programmed, unquestionably. You might think you're above it. I doubt it. I don't think any of us are capable of really being above it unless you can catch yourself in the place where you're already outside of yourself. Like I said, I was watching Karens get beat up. I mean, not necessarily beat up, but watching Karens get arrested and stuff like that. And then there was literally a moment where I'm like, dude, what is going on? Why are you stuck watching this? Why are you on your third video of this? And so closed it. Literally closed down YouTube completely. I think that was what I was watching, shorts or something stupid. Well, I think it was a mixture. So, happens to me too. I'm not trying to act like I'm somehow perfect, right? I'm just like everybody else. We are being bombarded with information programming. And it is very hard to avoid it or to somehow deflect, right? You can, and certainly I work on it every day. But sometimes it's, like they said in war games, right? Sometimes it's best not to play. And this is why I don't spend a lot of time in many of these apps. I do my job, I pull my stuff, I get the information for everybody, and then I put it down and I close it. This is not something that's in my hand much of the day at all. I'll set it on a counter somewhere near where I'm at, just in case someone calls or something stupid. I don't want to have to run upstairs to grab it, but I'm not on it, ever. In fact, there was one point this morning I was like kind of waking up early, and I'm like, I want to look at the phone to see what time it is, but then I'm like, but I hate it. The blue light, if I don't put my glasses on, it's just like, it wakes me up even further. It's like, ugh. And then I finally did. I finally looked to see what time it was, and it was almost time to wake up, so I was basically happy I did and just got out of bed at that point. Before the alarm. How many times does that piss you off? Whatever the case is. We're in this place where they're trying to divide us. So be careful. Some breaking news, pretty much, and I want to cover it. We've got some crazy video of this happening. But there is a UPS plane that its engine had a fuel leak, and its engine caught on fire while taking off, or attempting to take off, because it didn't succeed. We got a bunch of different angles of this. I think there was 3 deaths so far, 11 injuries. The expectation is that it might go higher. You are going to see some, explosions. I mean, I wouldn't say it's graphic, but it is from the standpoint of this is an airplane, and there's many packages on board as well as lives and people that got hurt on the ground because of this. But this is pretty extreme, so check it out. We got a lot of angles of this, by the way. So here's the plane trying to take off. Its engine was on fire already, it was coming down from trying to take off. I think it got up to about 120 some odd feet, and then that was about all she wrote. So that's that one. Now I got more. I started there intentionally. This is the plane. This is one angle of it crashing. That's pretty crazy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's just friggin' gnarly. And then we've got a few different, like I said, we got angles of this thing. I don't know if this makes noise either. Probably not.
You help me in continuing making our roads safer for our future.
Yeah, you can see it way off in the distance.
Because my daughter deserves.
Again, just insanity. Like I said, lots of different. Oh, this was a really good angle of it.
Bro, get the fuck away from here. Like, turn around. Bro, no, hold on. I think it's gonna crash, bro. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. Damn, they're dead. They are dead, bro.
I mean, that's probably a correct assessment. It's just insane. It was full of fuel. So, yeah, that much fuel creates a huge burning problem. It's one thing when they're landing. When they're landing, they generally don't have that much fuel. They got some, because you need to have some extra in case you got to circle around or anything crazy happens.
Okay,
But, wow. Wow is all I can say. Again, a few more angles of this thing.
¡Corre para atrás, papi! ¿Viste? Te lo estoy diciendo, Dios mío.
Yeah, I don't understand what's happening. Oh my God. Something to that
¡Ay,
effect.
Dios mío!
Pero que pinga, eh. Vamos a ver.
Papi, cuidado.
Espérate.
¡Ay, Dios mío, señor!
Oh my God, mister.
¡Ay!
Oh man, that's just craziness, right? I'm not. It's just ferocious what happened. So yeah, there's the. I mean, it hit this warehouse. It just, yeah, this is just really bad. I guess we're lucky there weren't more fatalities. This again was more of a mechanical issue. Happened to be a McDonnell Douglas aircraft, but it was the engine. So again, it's not necessarily the aircraft. It's but it is interesting to have a fuel leak. So who knows what this is tied to? I don't know if MD-11s are made currently. Do they still make some of those commercial McDonald's craft? I don't even know. I don't know if it's just they switched everything over to Boeing and just kind of kept like the F-15 and some of the other cool stuff they did. Iranian hackers, I don't know if you guys remember the story. I'm thinking this might be the one in particular. But Iranian hackers were claiming they had top secret information that they were going to leak. And this was a while back. I think it was this dude's. Anyway, whatever the case was, is coincidence or not, Iranian hackers allegedly accessed former National Security Advisor John Bolton's email, taunting him about classified files and threatening to leak them. So Bolton has pleaded not guilty to 18 counts tied to mishandling classified materials. This dude's just bummed. That's all there is to it. So, yeah. Affidavit says Bolton's assistants first alerted the FBI in 2021 that Iran had gained access to his AOL account where he was sharing classified information. So, yeah. A mess. Here's Trump. This is about 20 minutes-ish or so. It's 20 minutes. I'm going to play it at 1.25 speed, so it'll be a little shorter than that. But this is his whole speech to the senators, I think specifically. Maybe House is in there too. But he is essentially telling them, this is the game plan. This is what's up. Here's where we're at. Trump knew we were going to lose these elections. I think he's just using the optics of this to actually help forward the agenda that needs to move forward. And maybe, because Tom Thune was talking about not having the votes, maybe this discussion they had today is going to help with the votes. Maybe there's going to be some threats made because, again, they kicked the press out. You'll find that out. And they're having a private conversation, which means Trump can bring up all sorts of things. All sorts of things. Epstein files, for that matter. Right? Like, there's a lot of things Trump can do if he really, really wants to play difficult with some of these guys. So people that are compromised, he's going to nudge them. People that are, whatever the case is, I think he's gonna use whatever leverage he needs. Needless to say, this is Trump. This is pretty good. It's really good, I think. Check it out.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was quite a formal entrance. I thought we were just going to sit down and talk a little bit. We talk about exactly 1 year ago we had that big, beautiful victory. Exactly 1 year. And last night, it was, not expected to be a victory. It was very Democrat areas, but I don't think it was good for Republicans. I don't think it was good. I'm not sure it was good for anybody. But we had an interesting evening, and we learned a lot. And we're going to talk about that, and I'll say a few remarks, and then after that, I'll ask the press to leave. The press has been very, very nice to us the last couple of months. They were great to us in terms of the foreign visits with China, Japan, South Korea, Malaysia, and they were actually terrific. So I want to thank you for that. I'm sure you'll get back to your normal ways soon. But we did a great job over in China, and we've done a great job in turning off wars. We stopped 8 wars, and we have 1 to go, as you probably know, and that'll get stopped also. But we've done a great job, so it's really been an honor to do it, and I did it with many of the people in this room. Every one of you I know, and every one of you I like. I like our leaders. I like everybody. But I thought we'd have a discussion after the press leaves about what last night represented and what we should do about it, and also about the shutdown and how that relates to last night. I think if you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans, and that was a big factor. And they say that I wasn't on the ballot was the biggest factor, but I don't know about that, but I was honored that they said that. And I just want to thank everybody for being here, and a very special thanks to Vice President J.D. Vance, who's doing a terrific job. J.D., thank you very much. As well as the Senate leadership team that has been working very hard, working really, I will tell you, nobody's working any harder representing the American people, including Senator John Thune. John, thank you. Great job. Senator John Barrasso. John, thank you very much. Senator Tom Cotton, wherever you may be. Tom, thank you. Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Senator Shelley Moore Capito, who's been very involved. Thank you, Shelley. Senator James Lankford from one of my favorite states, 77 out of 77. I always say 77 out of 77. Reagan was 56. That was the record. We got every one of them. Thank you, James. And a fantastic friend of mine and an incredible advocate during the election a year ago, Tim Scott. Thank you, Tim. So as you know, we are in the midst of a disastrous Democrat-created government shutdown, and it is Democrat-created, but I don't think they're getting really the blame that they should. That's now officially the longest shutdown in American history. The Democrat radicals in the Senate have shown zero interest in reopening the government, and I don't think they'll act so soon. A lot of people disagree. I've been saying for the last 30 days, we've had 4 or 5 different points. Yes, sir, they're going to get it right now. We should have it done in a day. I've heard that about 4 times. I heard it after Kings. They said I was a king. And I heard it after Kings. I heard it after a couple of other moments in time. And I said, no, I don't believe so. And now I heard it's after the election. I don't believe so. I think they will. I think they're kamikaze pilots. I just got back from Japan. I talked about the kamikaze pilots. I think these guys are kamikaze. They'll take down the country if they have to. So I don't think so. Millions of Americans are going to be without SNAP benefits. And I will say about SNAP benefits, so when I was president, we had $7 billion worth, and now they have many times that, because these benefits were given to anybody that asked, and they're up to, I hear, just many times, $47 billion. So it wasn't the purpose of SNAP. It was for people that really had problems, down and out, people that really had problems. But during Biden, they gave it to anybody that wanted it. I think it's something you have to talk about because the numbers are incredible. But countless public servants are now not being paid, and the air traffic control system is under increasing strain. We must get the government back open soon, and really immediately. We have to get it up. We have the hottest economy we've ever had, and it's affecting the stock market now a little bit. But the stock market, as of Friday, has hit many record highs during the last 9 months, many. And it will again. This is just the beginning, because when these plants that are being built right now start opening up, we've never had anything like this as a boom. There's a construction boom right now, but that's going to be bigger than that. That's going to be an economic boom as soon as they open up, and it's going to be something special. We have car companies coming in. When I was in Japan, Toyota, Mr. Toyota, I said, "What's your name?" "Toyota." I said, "Oh, you're rich." He said, "How much of the company do you own?" 92.1%. I said, "I'm glad you said the one. He wants to be." I said, "You're a rich guy." And he said, "I'm investing $10 billion in the U.S." And you know who I'm talking about, right? You introduced me, Mr. Senator. You introduced me originally when you were the ambassador to Japan. He's still good. He's still strong. But he had no interest in investing in this country. Now he's investing $10 billion as of 1 week ago in building new plants. We have auto plants coming in incredibly, but we have AI and all of them. And we can't be extorted to give $1.5 trillion to people that came into the country illegally, many from prisons, many drug dealers. A lot of people came in from mental institutions, They want to give a lot of money to the people that came in illegally. We have to get them out. We can't. No country can sustain that. That's not like an attack on our country. In no country, these are not going to be productive people. These are going to be anti-productive people. And we can all have big hearts. I have a bigger heart than anybody, but we can't let that happen. It's time for Republicans to do what they have to do, and that's terminate the filibuster. It's the only way you can do it. And if you don't terminate the filibuster, you'll be in bad shape. We won't pass any legislation. There'll be no legislation passed for 3.25. We have 3.25 years, so that's a long time. But when they can't do an extension, and John, I think they've done an extension every single time they've ever been asked forever. This is the first time they haven't done an extension. Extensions are supposed to be easy, but if they won't do an extension, they won't do any bill, even a simple bill. And we should do our own bills. We should get out. We should do our own bills. We should open up. We should start tonight with the country's open. Congratulations. Then we should pass voter ID. We should pass no mail-in voting. We should pass all the things that we want to pass, make our elections secure and safe, because California is a disaster. Many of the states are disasters. But can you imagine when they vote almost unanimously against voter ID? All we want is voter ID. You go to a grocery store, you have to give ID. You go to a gas station, you give ID. But for voting, they want no voter ID. That's only for one reason, because they cheat. We would pass that in 15 minutes. If you don't get it, you'll never pass that. You'll never talk about mail-in ballots. Mail-in ballots make it automatically corrupt. If you have mail-in ballots, automatically it's correct. Even Jimmy Carter, they had the Carter Commission after he got out of office, and he had a group of very distinguished people, Democrats and Republicans, and they passed, they recommended things take place. It was a long time ago. And they said about mail-in ballots, if there is mail-in ballots, there will definitely be corruption because, they pass through too many hands. I mean, you go in to vote and they want your card. Even me, I went into Palm Beach. You go in to vote, they want your card. You're this, you're that. They say, I'm sorry to do this, sir, but I have to look at your identification. I said, that's all right. I love that. But, you're really not going to get away with much. It was very, very professional and very good, and the way it's supposed to be. But these people don't want that. They have legislation in California where it's illegal to ask somebody for voter ID. If you ask somebody for voter ID, if you're an official, and you say, I'd like to see your voter ID, they can arrest you, okay? They can arrest you because they want to cheat, and they get away with it, and the Republicans let them get away with it, and we won't do that if we have the filibuster. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, and we're going to see if we can sway, because I know we have a lot of, not a lot, I'd say half feel this way, maybe a little bit less than half, and it's time to have a really good talk. If I thought that they weren't going to pass the filibuster, I wouldn't even bring it up. They're going to pass it within the first hour if they take power, and it's more likely that they take power if we don't do it, because we're not going to be passing any legislation. Not going to approve anything. We're going to go 3.25 years. There won't be one bill that we're going to pass, because the easiest thing to pass is exactly right now what they won't pass. And they'll do that, and they'll wreak havoc. But let's assume they get it. They're doing it anyway, so it wouldn't matter. They're doing it anyway. And, I have a case where I have great U.S. attorneys that can't be approved because of the blue slips. The blue slips, I think you should terminate blue slips, too. It's a mental termination because it's really a custom. But if you have a Democrat senator or two is bad, but it doesn't make any difference. If you have one senator writes a negative letter on some great U.S. attorney, we had it in Manhattan, Southern District, Jay Clayton, one of the most respected lawyers in the whole country, by far, one of the most respected, and couldn't get approved. The courts approved him. The courts couldn't believe it. They did it like instantly. He went to the best schools, got the best marks, top of his class. Everything was perfect. I mean, he was led the perfect life. Went to Sullivan and Cromwell. Almost immediately became the head of Sullivan and Cromwell. The most prestigious law firm, I would say, in the country, just about. Whether it's Sullivan or two or three I could name, but Sullivan, I would say, really, maybe number one. He was the head of Sullivan and Cromwell for like 20 years. He went to the SEC, was flawless. He did it for me. He was the SEC chairman. He was flawless. Then he went to Apollo, where he was the chairman of Apollo, and it was flawless. Everything went good. The stock went through the roof and everything. I asked him to go to the Southern District, and he said, I'll do what you'd like to do, sir. This is a very high-quality person. But he couldn't get approval from Schumer. Schumer didn't approve him. The best student, the best schools, everything. He's like flawless. And the courts actually said, you're not approving Jay Clayton, right, Lindsay? You heard this. The courts actually interceded, and they approved him. But that's an unusual guy. We have other people that are really good, but people don't know how good. Top students, top colleges. And they're U.S. attorneys, and they won't be approved. They're not going to be approved. We have one in Los Angeles who's phenomenal. But the senators, the Democrats are, again, they're kamikazes. The Democrats are not going to approve them. Blue slips are a disaster. So the only people I can get approved are Democrats. I was told that by the Democrats. We'll only approve Democrats. I said, really, is that right? Not going to work that way. Not going to work that way with me. But the blue slips are a total disaster. I have 10 people right now that are doing a phenomenal job. And they will be out of office pretty soon. They've got another 2-3 weeks, a couple of them, and then they're going to have to leave. And it's actually a blight on their record because, nobody knows why they left. But it looks like they served 8 weeks, and then they had to leave. But they're not going to get the approval because the Democrat, radical left, lunatic senators are saying you can't, we're not going to approve you. And if we're not going to approve you, I had actually one Republican who got 2 great letters, but it turned out that he was a rhino, but that was a nice term for him. Now, he got 2 letters of approval, and when I said 2 Democrats approved him, I had to fire him because I figured if 2 Democrats approved him, they wrote the most beautiful letters. I found out, man, this is strange. And he was no good. I fired him. He was really not much of a Republican. The recommendation of that one wasn't such a good recommendation. Someday I'll tell you who recommended him, but it wasn't exactly the best. But when I saw when I saw the 2 senators from Virginia gave him glowing marks, Tim, I said, let me see this. I read the most beautiful letters I've ever seen. I said, I called him up. I said, sorry, you're fired. Get the hell out of here. And but it's a horrible thing. Blue slips is a horrible thing because I have the right to pick judges and I have the right to pick U.S. attorneys, and this takes away the right from me. And I think we're going to go to court on it, and we'll see what happens in court. But it gives the president, it takes away the right of the president to pick people to serve on the court and to serve as U.S. attorneys, which is very important. But the biggest thing is the filibuster. We have to get the country going. We will pass legislation at levels you've never seen before, and it'll be impossible to beat us. By the way, if they do, they're going to do it anyway, and they are going to immediately do the filibuster. And when they do the filibuster, they're going to pack the court. They want at least five justices. Now I hear it's up to 5. I actually heard up to 7 and up to 9, okay? They want new judges. They want to pack the court, and they will do it in the first day, maybe the week. Maybe they'll slow it down because there's no reason to rush. But they'll do it first week. They'll vote on this. And I have friends over there that are Democrats, I'm close to a lot of people. And I asked them about that because some people say, well, maybe they won't do that. I mean, they destroyed the career of Manchin and Sinema, and they got them out. They were the only objectors. Nobody else is going to object. They're going to do it the first day. They're going to pack the court. They're going to make D.C. a state, and they're going to make Puerto Rico a state. So now they pick up 2 states. They pick up 4 senators, okay? You think you have problems? They're going to do all of the things. They're going to pick up electoral votes. It's going to be a very, very bad situation. And it's done. It's done. As soon as they attain power. Now, if we do what I'm saying, they'll most likely never attain power because we will have passed every single thing that you can imagine that it's good and all good for the country. And there'll be no reason to. If we don't do that, people will say they're not doing much and they're in power. So the good news is we did the great, big, beautiful bill, and it's the greatest thing we could have done. And the smartest thing with John and our Speaker of the House, who's so good, Mike Johnson, we did all in one bill. If we didn't, John, it would be a problem because, we would have gotten a small piece passed. A lot of people wanted to do that. A lot of people in the room wanted to do that. They went along with me and John and everybody, and we got this thing passed. Honestly, it's 4 years' worth of goodies. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on, think of it, no tax on overtime. It's an unbelievable tax cut for the workers and for business, where business is going to create jobs, and we're creating jobs at levels that nobody's ever seen before. All these things are good. We have to be able to get the word out. If we don't get the word out, we're making a very big mistake. So I have this long, beautiful, and very boring speech. I won't bother reading it, but because we can just start talking. And I think it's very important. We have to get the country open, and the way we're going to do it this afternoon is to terminate the filibuster. And it's possible you're not going to do that. And I'm going to go by your wishes. You're very smart people. We're good friends. But I think it's a tremendous mistake, really. It would be a tragic mistake, actually. It's time. It's time. If I thought they weren't going to approve, I'd sort of be with you. It'd be fine. I'd be neutral to with you. But knowing that they're going to pass it as soon as they get any semblance of control, they'll pass it first thing, then it's like we have to do it first. And we have 2 years, and we'll end up with 2-3 years, and we'll have this country so perfect. We will have passed more legislation than any Congress and any group of senators or a group of congressmen. And we will get it through. They'll send it to us. We'll send it to them. It'll be a beautiful machine. Otherwise, we're just going to sit around and argue with these people all day long. And they're highly unrealistic, highly unrealistic. Many of them are radical left subversives, frankly. So I want to thank everybody. And we're going to talk. And I want to thank the press for treating us so really well for that foreign trip. It was we had just an amazing meeting. Don't forget, 2 months ago, it looked like the whole world was in trouble over rare earth. And that's no longer even a subject that people talk about. It was all worked out very quickly. Without tariffs, I couldn't have done it. I put a 100% tariff on China. As soon as I heard it, within 20 minutes, I put a 100% tariff on China. On President Xi, who's really a friend of mine, as much as he can be a friend. He's a tough man. He's a tough man. Smart man, actually. Very smart. The press doesn't like it when I call him very smart. They think I'm not supposed to call him smart. But he leads 1.4 billion people, without question. In fact, during the meeting, we were there. A couple of you were there, and some of you saw it. So he's here, and he's got about 6 people on each side, and every one of those people was standing like this. They were at attention. And I made a comment to one of them, and I got no response. I said, are you going to answer me? I got no response. And President Xi didn't let him have any. So if there's any question, I said, I want my cabinet to behave like that. That's the way. I'm demanding that I want them sitting up like that, Tim, just nice and straight. I never saw posture like that. I've never seen men so scared in their lives. They have the equivalent of a vice president. I said, are you going to answer my question? And he's like, he doesn't move. I said, what's wrong with this guy? Oh, I will answer all questions. Why don't you behave like that? JD doesn't behave like that. JD buds into conversations. I want to have that for at least a couple of days, okay, JD? We'll keep you long term, but a couple of days of that would be very, very nice. Okay, I want to thank you, and we'll talk a little bit. And I see they set me up with a podium. I thought I'd just be sitting, but it's probably easier. I want to thank you all very much. Thank you.
There you go. That's the point. I mean, yeah, he's the done of it. But yeah, I mean, fun with the JD, and you're going to be here for a long time, which I think is pretty interesting in the big picture. But yeah, we've got a situation that's building. And what do we do with this? What's the point of this? Do we make noise, obviously, to our senators? I mean, do you guys start talking about things like the filibuster, for example? Because that's a discussion that really needs to be had. And I don't know, Dems have wanted to get rid of it for a long time, but now they might actually, have their power eroded, so they're going to be against it, of course, because they're contrary to whatever. They change their moods to fit the day, right? Some of us just choose our mood. I'm going to be happy today. That's just it. And I'm going to live my life that way. And it's amazing the difference in these realities. So we're at a crossroads, I think. And I think not at this per second, like not this minute second, if you will, are we at the crossroads. It's very close. We can definitely see it in the distance. And I think Mamdani is probably going to push that ball forward in a great national way. And they're going to showcase it like this is the greatest thing ever. And it's going to be on your MSNBCs and wherever, those ABC and some of the crap channels, right? CNN, I think, will stay a little more neutral because they're not totally stupid. They're actually trying to make a difference. So we'll see it play out before our eyes. Schumer and Jeffries are demanding a meeting with Trump now that they've taken over these cities. And that's how they look at it. We've conquered New York City. And Trump's going to be like, yeah, so I'm not going to give you guys any money on anything ever again. You know that, right? Like, I'm going to fight you on every single thing. Like, you just declared war against me. And on top of that, all the stuff that Mamdani wants to do, like, especially if he starts doing it day one, well, it's going to have bad effects. We got someone's kicking out. A group of Senate Democrats abandoning shutdown fight because they're starting to realize this is going sideways, getting pear-shaped. Donald Trump, and he's talking about today's United States Supreme Court case, is literally life or death for our country. That's 100% true. If we have to give back all that tariff money, if we lose the ability and control to be able to negotiate, or the words they used, regulate, and actually, the problem the Dems focused on, I'm going to call it the Dems, whatever, the problem the deep state focused on, that's a better way to say it, sorry, was the fact that they raise revenue, that they create income through tariffs. This is literally what they're fighting from the concept of tariffs, is the ability for the president to be able to do that. Now, they went into the law that Congress passed that really, I think, spells out how they can. But they're claiming that Congress is the only ones that has a right to tax. They kept insisting that tariffs were a tax. And that's where I personally, and it never got brought up. So obviously, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. And this is true. I'm going to say it, but this is the question I had, but tariffs aren't a tax on us. It's a tax on somebody else. And they're like, no, it's a tax. I mean, they kind of mentioned it. And I'm like, but that's not the same thing. You're talking about the dude's doing something that's helping alleviate the tax liability for the average American. Revenue raising. Helping us. But they want Congress to do it because, again, Congress is the most controlled within our government. It's all the deep state has left is Congress. Trump and I think the Supreme Court, and we're going to see how this case plays out, because, again, I didn't hear the earlier arguments, so I feel like I'm missing a little, but I at least heard the counter arguments, which is, I think, most important from where we're standing. Again, I think I agree with Trump. This literally, if they say, yeah, president can't make Trump tariffs, it's got to happen through. And to their point, if it's got to happen through Congress, can they pass it? It's a CR, so in that case, it would be financial things, or maybe only the 50 vote threshold. But then we get some douchehole like Rand Paul, who decides he wants to fuck everything up. You know, your Marjorie Taylor Greens of the world. I have little sympathy because Congress is like seriously in jeopardy, and we're trying to do incredibly important things, and we've got people over here yakking about stupid shit. Rand Paul example, pissed off that we're blowing up drug boats. Like, just to be against Trump? I mean, is it because you're worried about Kentucky? Are you guys getting that blue? Are you trying to make them blue? Not trying to be a dick to these people either, because I know I think people get upset when I do this, and rightly so, by the way. I mean, I shouldn't be a dick to people. You know, it's really not the better way to move forward. Being nice and common ground and all the shit I tell everybody else, do as I say, not as I do. But, I mean, yeah, no, I hold myself accountable too. I fail and fall down as well. I prostrate myself. Was it prostrate myself? Which one is it? I think it's prostrate, isn't it? Anyway, sounds weird. I stick my finger in my own butthole for you. All said. Oh boy, I'm going to get another strike on X. They're going to, because I said that, they're going to put it in the X-rated category. Whatever. So Trump is trying to make a difference. Bessent supposedly was there today. I don't know. It's not like they ever said, hey, yo, what's up, Bessent? You know, I don't think that's Scotty boy. You know, they didn't do anything cool, fist bump. I didn't hear anything like that, so not sure. But, yeah, supposedly he was there. Trump couldn't go, but, I mean, again, this is like one of the most, that's why I listened to it. This is like, I was looking forward to this one. Like, it sounds stupid, but this is like, all right, this one's really important. And, again, I'll probably go back and listen to the beginning and see what I missed. I will definitely have a little bit of time to do that after I get done recording and prepping and doing some other stuff. But we've got that happening. It's going to be cool. Gold's up a little bit right now. There we go. Everything's caught up finally. Dow Jones up. Everything's like up. What's funny to me is they're trying to make it look, again, the stock market's fake as shit, guys. All this shit's fake, okay? The price of gold, that's currency. That's a different thing. But the stock market is full of shit. And so where we're at right now is they want everybody to think that this is awesome, that Mom Donnie won. But what's going to happen in a very, very... Again, this is like when Kamala Harris first started running. You guys remember that? It was like 21 days, about 3 weeks. Everybody was like, they're just walking around with boners and the equivalent for ladies, right? Maybe headlights for us guys, but that's, again, just coming from my standpoint. But whatever your version of that might be. They were all stoked. And then it was just like, God, she sucks. And it was just the reality set in. And that's what's going to happen. Fire all the cops. Fire all the cops. Cool. Well, poor people, you're the ones where most of the crime is. I'm not trying to be a dick, but people that have lesser money tend to live in the places that are less expensive. The places that are less expensive where higher levels of crime exist. It's just statistic. It's just how it is. These are the people that will be harmed the most by their decisions. Now, again, when do people wake up? When do birds sing? I think they keep using that analogy. When do birds sing? That, of course, has to do with all sorts of things. But my point is, people have to walk through the fire before they're going to wake up. It just is what it is. It sucks balls. But you don't have to actually get financially punished for it. Found out some really cool information, by the way, about this special deal due in November. We talked about this, and I've been freaking people out maybe a little like, oh my God, it's 3 weeks, and I'm not going to be able to get it all together. I found out, and I asked him, I'm like, how long does it actually take? Because it was someone that was kind of a side part of this thing that way back when that told me it took 3 weeks. Maybe way back then it did. I don't know. Maybe they've gotten more efficient. I doubt it. But I found out it's actually 5-6 business days. If you got all your ducks in a row, 5-6 business days, it's up to you. I mean, you can sit on stuff, think about it for 4, 5, 6 days. It's up to you. But 5-6 business days, this transaction can go from, hey, yeah, I'm interested, to sweet, I just protected all my wealth, my buying power. Just to break it down a little, the way buying power works, one gold coin Okay, it's worth varying amounts of money as time has gone, but it's always stayed equivalent in buying power. Meaning, back in 1930, I could buy a fully tailored suit, handmade, and today, basically for the same price, I can buy a fully tailored handmade suit. $4,000. Back then it was like 30, 20, whatever it was. Buying power. This is not an investment you purchase when times are good. So after we get through this nasty that's coming, I don't know where, Trump's still fighting just to get Senate and spring, right? Like, we don't even have a government open yet, guys. We're at longest ever, 36 days, I think. So, buying power. You get it through the hard time. This is hard times is when people go to precious metals. Good times is when you don't do precious metals. Or keep a small amount just in case. But this can easily be transferred because the Fed's going to at some point get kind of blamed in this. We know they're coming down. We know they have to. Jackson was one of Trump's favorite presidents. This is the third Fed. We're literally paying them all sorts of money. It's a private entity that owns the privilege to print our money for us. When that's in our Constitution, that we can mint our own coinage. Now, whether or not that, you can make paper versions of coinage, that might be a fun Supreme Court case. Whatever the case is, we don't need an outside non-organization controlling that. So again, all of this is going to go back to precious metals. It's going to be powerful. Now again, buying power. You got a 401k or an IRA. 100 grand. What's 100 grand buy? I don't know where you're at. Here, 100 grand's like, I don't know. You can't even get a double wide, but 100 grand here. That's like a solid down payment plus on a house, right? Plus, extra money. You want to hang on to it, right? Right. But that's the buying power. That's what that would equal, just as an example. So if I took that out in precious metals and then walk 3 years down the road, and we've been through a lot of different stuff at that point, the buying power is still going to be the same. I'll still be able to acquire that much of a house at that point, no matter what. And they're saying that the new currency will be backed by precious metals. So once you've got the precious metal, you're already halfway there. In fact, in some cases, you're already there. We're going to move from that. It'll be precious metals backed, meaning whatever the precious metals are worth is what that dollar amount's going to equate to. And you have, 1 ounce is equal to what? Okay, well, there you go. You walk down and be like, here's an ounce. I want that much. And they'll just probably put it in the vault. It's not like they need to melt it down. Again, this is all going to work out. But you can protect yourself. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. This is November only. You're still going to get up to 10% free silver from my good friends at Goldco. You're still going to get, protection. That's important. It's going to be tax-free, penalty-free. They move it sideways. It's into a trust. A lot of people are talking about how you need to have it sent to you immediately. That's called getting paid out. No matter how you do it, you're still getting paid out. The IRS is not going to like that. So sideways into a trust for the time being is what I would say. That's a different story altogether. And then you can withdraw the funds or the metals later. If you do it in large numbers and it kind of breaks that whole IRA concept, then you're going to get taxed and penalized probably. But whatever, that's a secondary thing. Get as much of it as you can is my point. Go sideways with it. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Because you guys are awesome. This November month, I'm also giving you, myself, from me, 1%. So whatever you're able to do, I'm going to throw 1% on that, on top of that, in free silver. DRSlikesgold.com. 1% free silver going to you, up to 10% free silver going to you from Goldco. So up to 11% potentially. DRSlikesgold.com. You get your protection and learn about it and get out of their system. And it's got to close by the end of November, or else you don't get the 1%. I mean, you still get all the other stuff, but you're not going to get the extra 1%. So if you can't make it happen, it costs you 1% in silver. But it doesn't have to. DRSlikesgold.com. DRSlikesgold.com. Get out of that nasty system before they get out of you. All right, so the election stuff, a lot of fun. Scott Jennings issues a blunt warning as CNN panel gloats over the Democrat victories. Basically says something to the effect of, it's only 58 seconds.
I think I just want to offer condolences to Chuck Schumer. Honestly, what I'm reading here in New York City is that AOC is going to be the next senator from New York after she gets done whooping his rear end in the 2028 Democratic primary. And for his Senate races in 2026, I see the energy in the Democratic Party tonight behind a socialist, and I see the energy in Virginia. Democrats looking the other way on a violent candidate for attorney general who says he wants to murder Republicans and their children. If you think you're getting rid of Graham Plattner in Maine now, think again. This is a terrible night for national Democratic image, given what is happening inside their party. Mamdani is an avowed socialist. It's not what people say that he is, it's what he says that he is. He's now the leader of their party. That's their energy, and Chuck Schumer's
He's the leader of the Democratic Party?
Let's swear. There is no. Who is the leader? Can someone tell me?
He's a life raft for Republicans who have to go on TV and get their asses kicked today.
You own this now. You all own this now.
It's like Republicans got their asses kicked. It's the way they look at it. Again, these are extraordinarily blue places. So it's more like this. Rest in peace, New York City, founded in 1624, died 2025. Jewish FDNY, the fire department guy, he resigned, the chief. He resigns the same day Mamdani wins. He's like, I'm out. I'm done. Reportedly handed in his letter of resignation hours after Zohran Mamdani was elected mayor of the city. That's pretty simple. CNN's Van Jones, among those raising alarms at Mamdani's instant character switch after winning power, said he was loud. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I have the audio. I don't know. Do we want, I guess, what the hell? You guys, some of you guys might give a crap. I just think it's so stupid. Let's see if I can even make this happen.
That speech appealed to some, but I think he missed an opportunity. I think the Mamdani that we saw on the campaign trail, who was a lot more calm, who was a lot warmer, who was a lot more embracing, was not present in that speech. And I think that Mamdani is the one you need to hear from tonight. There are a lot of people trying to figure out, can I get on this train with him or not?
Yeah, the answer is probably overwhelmingly no. But yeah, so this dude's a little bummed. CNN, I don't know. I mean, Jones has been one that's tap danced in our waters enough times, and I think ultimately that's where he's going to end up, obviously. But you got to play these games carefully. It really is. It's an optics thing. It's again, it's why I sometimes nudge the boundaries, and you're not supposed to do that, but I do it anyway because I think it's helpful. So this is the vote for Zohran Mamdani and how it broke down by age and gender. Praying Medic was particularly concerned with this. Women 18 to 29 had the highest percentage at 84%, but I was concerned about all the 60-plus percents, to be honest, also. Men 18 to 29, 68%. Men 30 to 44, 66%. Men 45 to 64, 45%. Men 65 plus, 36% want Mamdani. That one says volumes. Women, women 30 to 44, 65%. Women 45 to 64, 42%. Kind of much like men. The numbers seem to match out pretty solid from the other age groups. But yeah, young women love. He's a rap star. Oh my God, he's like a mayor now. Again, this is who's deciding. Not that you should take their right to vote away, but this is where most of the cancer is. California voter approved Proposition 50, allowing partisan redistricting for House seats. Hey, I went and voted. I'm not even remotely surprised, though. I knew this. I knew every one of these. Well, I figured every one of these elections would happen the way they did. I didn't know. I figured. I didn't want to say it out loud, frankly. Prior to, because I don't want to influence it and I don't want to help manifest it. So I'm like, oh, that's what it is, but I'm going to work on doing my best to help not have that happen. And, I saw this coming. No biggie. Here is Mamdani's HQ screen. They're saying it was hacked. And it says, Trump is your president. And I'll just go to the part. We don't need to play it. But it was like, this was happening, right? And so everybody's like, hey, they hacked it. Haha. Which looks bad on us, kind of, frankly, in my opinion. But readers added context, and they added, legitimate links, which I thought was interesting. Said it wasn't hacked. There was a news channel playing, and they were just showing what the White House tweeted. You can see the channel is Spectrum News at the top left, so it's in the image. Yeah, Spectrum News. I think they meant the bottom left, but whatever. Did I read top and it's bottom? You can see the channel of spectrum at the top left corner. Yeah, so I'm not the only one that's a little special on that one. Whatever the case is, they offer sources. So it didn't get hacked, but still kind of funny if you think about the timing of it. The governor, the CEO, and the FBI. Oh boy. Yeah, so there's a hospital issue going on here in Nassau. I don't know why the FBI is involved, probably because there's some stealing or something happening, but supposedly the state, I believe, hasn't been paying their fair share of Medicaid by a staggering $1 billion in this one hospital. Yeah, well, the whole Nassau University Medical Center, that might be a center. It's probably a center. So there's probably multiple buildings, but whatever. $1 billion. And they don't think they've gotten the money. So they're digging into this. The FBI is probably involved because there's potentially criminal stuff happening. This is just one more example of the failure for Kathy Hochul, right? So this is going to happen. California and New York for sure, and I think Illinois. I also think Minnesota. A number of these states are going to really crash hard. We should be able to all come back, but ultimately we've got to see the cancer before we can ever deal with it, or it's never going to happen. Gavin Newsom continues his stupid, divisive, racist stuff. Everything, it's got to break into the little categories, little blocks, all that stuff. We know how it is. He's going to be running for president, so we're going to be seeing this dude a bunch. I'm probably going to ignore him for the most part, unless something really ridiculous happens. Hopefully if it's embarrassing for him, otherwise, meh. Cartels control tribal lands in California. They grow drugs and impose narco-slavery. I'm actually 100% sure of this. I know for fact. I've got a very good friend of mine who owns some land that was once an avocado ranch until all the trees burned down because of a giant fire that went through there. But there are literally people growing drugs on his land, and he's kind of even afraid to approach them because they have weapons that they just carry around with them on his land. Yeah, it's funny how that works out. Why don't you call the cops? It doesn't usually go well either that way. You don't want to get on the radar. There's some problems all over the place. But yeah, these are cartels. These are definitely cartels. And that is not a good thing. That's all I can say. The View host Joy Behar suggested that Marjorie Taylor Greene should become a Democrat. What do you think, Marjorie? Huh? What do you think? I should probably turn my camera on, but what do you think? I think it's a good idea for you. What do you think? Anyway. Yeah, I'm going to pick on her for a while. Probably forever. Pretty sure. I don't know. Texans passed Proposition 16, which prohibits non-citizens from voting. Look at that. See? I just want to throw some good news there towards the end. Good job, Texas. I don't know what other stuff might not have gone properly, like somehow Crockett. Oh, that's coming up later, huh? Next year. Crockett and Tubbs. Here's Trump talking about, I guess, at a press conference. This was today, and I'm not able to get this live because I was busy doing something else, I guess. But he says, what happens if Mamdani becomes the New York City mayor? I don't know. I want to hear this. I haven't listened to it yet. Check it out.
Mr. President, your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon, Zorhan Mandami, who in his nomination speech said he will defy ICE and will not allow ICE to arrest criminal aliens in New York City. Your message to communist Zorhan Mandami?
Well, then we'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully on behalf of the nation. We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government. And by the way, they get about 3 times what you get, Ron. If you look at the per capita, Florida gets 1/3 of what New York gets in terms of the numbers. Why don't you give us those numbers?
Yeah, well,
because that's what we should send him.
Yeah, well, like sometimes people say Florida gets more because they count Social Security recipients, but that's not money to the state. Those are seniors that live here. If they moved to North Carolina, you could count it there. So it has no interaction with the state government. They get more in the city and state governments than we get.
Right, substantially. We're going to be watching that very carefully, and a lot of people are saying he's here illegally. We're going to look at everything, and ideally, he's going to turn out to be much less than a communist. But right now, he's a communist. That's not a socialist. I've always said we will not have socialism in this country. In the speeches, I said, well, what? They skipped socialism, and you got a lot of them like that. And you see AOC, she's out there with her, bad IQ. She's out there ranting and raving about how wonderful he is. And look, so far he's winning. He still has a race to win, but so far he's winning, and he has an advantage as a Democrat in New York City. I was there a long time ago, and it was a long time since a Republican won the city. Yeah, but you would think that a Republican would be able to win. Or you have a good independent running, Mayor Adams, who's a very good person. I helped him out a little bit. He had a problem, and he was unfairly hurt over this question. He made a statement to the effect that this is terrible. New York City can't have all these immigrants come in. And like he was indicted the following day. And I said, that was a phony indictment. That it was a phony indictment. That was a Biden indictment. I said, don't feel bad. I got indicted 5 times every time you opened your mouth. That was a bad group. That was a very dangerous group, I will tell you. These were not nice people. That was the only thing they could do. They had no policy. They had no skill. They had no anything. But they were very good at that. They were vicious, vicious, horrible people. Thank you very much.
Yeah, obviously that wasn't before the election or just recently, but still, well, sort of recent, but not relative to the election itself. Very cool still, nonetheless. It happened, long story short, and yet here we are. Here we are, moving forward together, right? Licking our wounds. Wow, I don't want to say wounds. I actually think this is wonderful. I think it's wonderful. We are going to get, small example, 1 city, 2 cities, just a couple here. Again, how many cities we're going to burn? I don't know, people have said 14, 17, right? It's crazy numbers. So this is the start of that. New York's definitely probably going to be one of them. And we'll see. Might become the most magnificent city ever afterwards. Trump is a master builder. That would be funny. New York is one of their stomping grounds. Attorney General James Uthmeyer said today, we won big at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 11th Circuit, defending our law preventing ownership of Florida land by the Chinese Communist Party. Thanks to Senior Deputy Solicitor General Forrester and Assistant Solicitor General Schenek. There we go. Schenk? Ooh, what a neat name, Schenk. Really? Is that where the original name comes from? Schenk is the thing you had when you carved a bar of soap into a point. Oh, wow. General Schenk for securing a huge win for Florida. So good deal on you guys. Keeping them Chinese out. I like it. At least the communist Chinese. Normal Chinese people are really good. But I do have secrets. I have lots of secrets. Secrets all over the house. You name it. Whatever kind of secret you want, I got it. I got secrets. Lots of them. Just saying. Just saying. Republicans move to end tax-exempt status for CARE and other groups with Islamic terrorist connections. That would make sense. Chip Roy from Texas going after these guys. I think he's a Freedom Party guy, but most of the time Chip Roy's on the right side of things. He's pretty tight with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Hey, Chip, tell us what crazy stuff's going on. Who'd she bang? What happened? How's she anyway, whatever. This CARE, Council of American Islamic Relations guys they get a tax-exempt status and then they do riots and stuff. So whatever the case is, these things need to stop. Jim Jordan launches a probe into AT&T and Verizon's responses to Jack Smith. Like, yeah, we want to find out what you guys said. Why didn't you say no? Why didn't you say, hey, get a warrant? Why didn't you say, hey, F you? Dems got Reagan House primary. Look at that. You like that? So this guy, Jesus Chuy Garcia, he was he was gonna run, and then he was gonna drop out though. He just wanted to drop out, but he didn't tell anyone that. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna rerun. So nobody was gonna primary him or anything like that because everybody supposedly liked him. So he had his chief of staff handpicked successor files last minute, and then he drops out, and she's the only one that actually can run, and likely the only one that's going to run. Oh, it's beautiful how the Democrats roll. And again, I don't know, deep state, how they roll, but certainly the Democrats are part of it. I just want to let you guys know. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I'm so long already on this show. That's a shame. MyPillow.com/OTF. Remember this. Mike Lindell's going through all sorts of issues, so at least helping out his local place, right? Where his people are working that are homegrown here in America. Though in Minnesota, Mike. Anyways, I understand. You got families up there. You got to keep it going. You're going to use promo code OTF, or if you go to mypillow.com/OTF, you're automatically going to have it pre-populated just like it is right there. But I'm going to tell you about these socks, okay? I don't know, as low as $3.99 a pair. I bought a 2-pack somehow. And what I love about these socks, I'm going to tell you. I have them on right now, by the way. I put them on yesterday for the first time. They've got this band here, right on the toe. And it's literally like reinforcement in all the places that you want to have reinforcement. You notice the toes got reinforcement, both sides. You see the whole bottom's reinforced? Okay? You've also got these reinforcements here because the stretch, the way a typical foot will stretch. So this kind of compresses it just like you would expect. It's extraordinarily comfortable and just well made, like I've said. And, you know, it's got the standard no splice, the old socks in the good old days when they didn't have these that would just start to fray. I don't know, it's the anti-fray. I don't know if there's some technology, whatever the hell. These are actually really cool. I like them. They're very comfortable. I got 2-packs. I don't know if they make, I'm not trying to be like all rapper, Tupac Shakur. No, they had 2-packs, not 2-packs. But they're freaking awesome. They're actually really, really good socks. So, yeah, I finally busted them open. I pulled them all out. Like, I've been talking about these damn things forever. And I'm like, why is my sock drawer so freaking empty? Finally, I guess I was able to throw enough of them away or the dryer lint thing ate them. I don't know. Socks disappear. Socks are weird. There's like a, right? And sometimes disappear. And you're like, what happened with that sock? It should have a friend. We've got, the slippers. We've got his cross. We've got the mattress gone up a little bit, $7.99. We got free shipping over $100 or more. Digital coupons to match, $100. Free body, or not free. What is this? $29.98 body pillows with free pillowcase. That's pretty cool. I got some pretty sweet deals. If you need pillows, they got the best pillow ever made. Frankly, that's what it comes down to. The MyPillow pillow. Whether you get the knife's edge or the box edge, which is that more, kind of weird one. I think it's weird because I have the knife's edge, but it's like that boxy looking one. They're basically the same price, so a couple dollar difference. They are the best pillow made. You will be just like, oh my God, these pillows are fantastic. And it's just the way it holds your neck. Like your neck, it sits in it, and then it just sits there. It just sits where it's supposed to. It sits at the right angle. It's very perfect. And when it finally gets weird or flattened, or sometimes, you get that, you wear it out, that one spot, you just fluff it. And then it's right back to where it was. Like it's another perfect night's sleep on another perfect pillow. It's just, I love their pillow. If you buy anything, you're not going to get free shipping, but get a pillow or buy a couple of them. Get some extras. They're freaking awesome. And then again, you like the body pillow because, whatever. I'm not going to say things. It's a great deal. And the energy drink is actually really fantastic. No calories, no sugar. It's got like 10 milligrams of salt, which is stupid low. In fact, it's fantastic. And the energy that it gives you is amazing. You don't get the falls, the crashes. It's done a really neat way. It's a special chemical that your body creates when it burns fat and creates energy from that. It creates this chemical. That's what's in it. So your body's already like groovy with it the second it gets inside of you. That's really good. I think you can get a free 3-pack, and actually you just got to pay shipping on that. So that's a pretty sweet deal. You can try them, and it's all one of each flavor, and they're delicious. Delicious. We got a list of dog beds, if you care for your animals. Bath sheets, bath mats, their towels just in general are perfect. Their pajamas or the panjamas are the same way. Bathrobes, anything they make with cotton is incredible. Smooth toe socks, 25% code right there, just boom. So they've got a whole bunch of colored socks and everything. Not that feels like 1950s kind of, right? Was that one of them colored socks? It was, in fact, yeah. It was like a grayish color, whatever. All said, they've got the best products. Go to mypillow.com/OTF. Mypillow.com/OTF. Get the best night of sleep you've ever had. There we go. Yes. Let's rock and roll. Rep. Brandon Gill has filed impeachment articles against Judge Boasberg. I don't know. I don't properly know how they do this. It's not an easy thing to search, kind of, but yeah, and there's probably many different angles per se. I don't know about how impeachment works when it comes to judges, but yeah, filing it's cool. We'll see if it ever gets a vote or what that's like. So I'm sure a lot of people would probably be all for that because Boasberg's definitely someone that's pissed off a bunch of people multiple times, not just been like once. Yeah, I think that's where I was gonna put the commercial. Here is Department of War establishing two task forces to review the COVID era stuff. They're trying to undo this. Kennedy's done some great work, and he continues to move forward, hopefully making many of us happy.
Hi, I'm Tony Tate, Undersecretary of War for Personnel Readiness, talking to you today about COVID-19 vaccine mandate work streams. First and foremost, of course, is the President and Secretary's priority of making it easier for those that want to return to service to do so. We know that reinstatement has not been an easy path. We're getting better every day. We're making improvements, and we're seeing more people come in every day, every week, every month. Secondly, we know that not everyone wants to return to service, and we thank you for your service. But we know that there were some adverse impacts, and those adverse impacts include things like discharge characterizations that perhaps were unfair, or bonus recoupment, and several other issues. We're working hard on those. Third, and the big announcement today, is the establishment of 2 task forces that will review the policy development and implementation of the COVID-19 vaccine mandate. These task forces will include members of the affected community, and they will be focused on making sure that this never ever happens again to our servicemen and women in uniform, their families, or our department civilians.
Oh, well, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. When are you allowed to not have to wear your undersecretary of war? Oh, so that's not like a actual general or anything. I thought that was maybe like a general. U.S. did test our hypersonic missile. It took off last night. I was unfortunately not looking for it. I don't know if it was. It might have been viewable. I think our weather was pretty clear last night, so I'm kind of bummed I missed it. But it took off from Vandenberg, a Minuteman III. I just wanted to have fun with the numbers really quick with you guys. This is so fantastic. You'll appreciate this. So this thing went 4,200 miles, right? 4,200 miles. It did that in 22 minutes. So if we divide that by 22, that gets us 190 miles per minute. 190 miles per minute. That's ridiculous, right? Now, let's just take it a sec further, just to make it crazy. So this is 190 miles per minute that it travels. What if we do miles per second? It is it's interesting repeating here, but 3.1818181818 miles per second. 3.18 miles per second this thing was traveling. And it went ballistic at one point, so that means at one point it was going stupid fast to average out to 3.1818. Holy crap. That is so fast, right? Oh, if we want to do miles per hour, let's see. Miles per hour, so times 60 to get back to minutes. What do we got? Times 60 to get to hours, right? So 11,454 miles per hour is probably roughly what this thing was doing. There you go. Yes, right here. Fun with numbers. And again, that's an average. It depends how high it is, where it is, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, so very crazy. Everybody and their mother was watching us. I don't know how accurate it was. We'd obviously, no matter what, say it was awesome. It's fantastic. But here is a little of the video of it taking off and some stuff that's kind of cool. Yeah, I guess there's no audio. Oh, it helps if I mute it.
Global Strike Command airmen conducted an operational test launch of an unarmed Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile from Vandenberg Space Force Base, May 21st, to demonstrate the readiness of the U.S. nuclear forces and provide confidence in the lethality and effectiveness of the nation's nuclear deterrent. Today's test launch used a randomly selected intercontinental ballistic missile pulled from Malmstrom Air Force Base, Montana. The ICBM was equipped with a single Mark 21 high-fidelity re-entry vehicle and traveled approximately 4,200 miles at a speed of more than 15,000 miles per hour to a test range near the Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Islands. The ICBM test and evaluation program helps validate the reliability of the nuclear umbrella our allies and partners rely on, eliminating the need to obtain their own nuclear weapons to counter potential adversaries. The 55-year-old Minuteman III is based in Colorado, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, and Wyoming, and will be replaced by the LGM-35A Sentinel. Reporting from Vandenberg Space Force Base, I'm Staff Sergeant Joshua Leroy.
Just a reminder that we could blow you up in many different ways, 14 different times, if we so choose. Again, every country that can nuke each other to death, so Oh, and the whole planet, for that matter. You don't just like destroy one country and everyone else is happy. Though there is some rumors of some crazy new weapons that don't necessarily cause radiation, which, good on you. You can kill an entire population, but not necessarily radiate out was, I guess, smart. Especially the ones that don't necessarily damage the land. Like, again, radiation's a fun one. Like China, they would want to take over our land. This is one of the greatest places in the world to grow crops. We have a great country. We should try to appreciate it and make sure we hold on to it, because we've got some fights ahead of us, guys. Creep gropes tries to kiss the Mexican president, Claudia Sheinbaum. It's kind of a trip. He groped her, some random dude. I can't believe the security got this close to her, and she just kind of just turned and like no. She pushed his hand down. So that's a little strange, but okay. I don't know if he's not even a good-looking guy. I don't know if he's special or what, but he just grabbed some. I mean, this is up my alley a little bit. I'll be honest. I mean, not that I do that. I would want to. Boobs are neat. I like them. Muslim-led Nigeria denies the allegations of this Christian genocide, but still wants aid from us. He wants weapons. He's like, no. What we need high-tech fighter jets from you. What are you, like Zelensky? Did someone hack this dude's email? He's like, yeah, we want high-tech fighter jets and machinery to address the threat posed by this terrorist group. You just stay off our soil, just give us a bunch of cool shit, and we'll see what we can do with it. And we're going to be like, yeah, how about no? Got a couple Cessnas we'll sell you. How about that? You want some of those? Those are cool. They're really cool. And you can put lights on them and stuff and make them all blinky. They're like, woo! Yeah. Nigeria. UN Secretary General says Sudan's war is spiraling out of control. I just bring this up because I didn't realize there was a big war going on there. So that was, United Nations stuff. So I can't trust anything they say. So it's interesting. But it's getting crazy. It's spiraling out of control. Rapid support forces seized the besieged, famine-stricken Darfur city of El Fasher. Yeah, that was fun. Speaking in Qatar, Antonio Guterres called for an immediate ceasefire in the 2-year conflict, one of the world's worst humanitarian crisis. So I guess Trump's like, all right, you go ahead, you stop that war. And when you finally say, I need your help, Uncle, you let me know, and I'll go there and stop the war. And then we'll see what happens. NATO did get a little bit of a recording, I guess, of this nuclear-powered missile. Thing went about 14,000 kilometers. That's very far. That's, good, halfway around the world, basically. 15-hour duration to do it, so it wasn't smoking fast or anything. And it does look like it's belching out all sorts of crazy shit. This is nuclear-powered, and I would bet that stuff it's belching out is probably not good for anybody at all. But whatever, they've got this weapon, and they didn't consider this a nuclear test, by the way. This is a nuclear test. It's a nuclear-powered weapon that if something happened to this, it would create a nuclear mess. Just because you didn't put a warhead on it or blow it up that way doesn't necessarily, right? So I think that's some of what Trump's argument's been about this nuclear test ban treaty breakage. Trump comments on the Tomahawks for Ukraine. He's like, yeah, no, not really. Could happen, could change, but at this moment, I'm not giving them any Tomahawks. Wah, wah, wah. Poor Zelensky. I'm sorry. Kiev has received more Patriot missile systems, though. Yeah, you got those. That NATO countries have been giving up their own supplies. They're going to have to buy more. That's unfortunate for them. Great for us, says the war machine. Germany, they dodged Russia's offer of non-aggression. So Russia tried to make a non-aggression pact with Europe. Basically saying, look, once we finish this Ukrainian thing, this is to show we don't have any intention of going anywhere else. No desire to take over Europe. That's not on the cards. Nothing we want to do. We like you guys. You're good neighbors, like, State Farm and stuff. Yeah, it's cool. We like you guys. And Germany's like, yeah, no. Germany, the largest economy that's failing drastically and heavily because they're deep state bastards. No, not the people. But it's just, these are the places where the deep state has power and control. They started 2 world wars. Hello, right? And they never really lost. They just relocated, if you will, much like Rome. So again, this is just examples of power moving from place to place. Hopefully, we're actually finally putting a stop to that. I do believe that's what's happening in the bigger picture. I think Trump is very aware of it. He's said a lot of things that would suggest as much. Q has as well. So we're on our way. But Europe's got their part of this to play out, and it's all happening as a movie for like everybody else. Finally, Donald Trump trooped this out. Sean Duffy has done an incredible job as the interim administrator of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. This evening, I am pleased to nominate Jared Isaacman, an accomplished business leader, philanthropist, pilot, and astronaut, as administrator of NASA. Jared's passion for space, astronaut experience, and dedication to pushing the boundaries of exploration, unlocking the mysteries of the universe, and advancing the new space economy make him ideally suited to lead NASA into a bold new era. Congratulations to Jared, his wife Monica, and their children, Mila and Liv. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So this is official. I don't know if he's going to have Duffy somewhere else. It is funny, some of the crazy conversations Duffy was having with like Kardashian and stuff. Again, who knows? I don't know if some of that, I mean, they finally got people approved through the Senate, so it could have been a mixture of things. All said, a lot of craziness happening. This is a weird picture, Brave. We got, what's this one? What's the next choice? That's better. I'd rather those. I'd rather go out on this than another thing. Yeah, I say. Nasty. All said, guys, I love you all. Consider what we've got in front of us. Consider that we need to continue to ripple the movement forward. We've got some really important things in front of us. We got a lot of people that want to spend time talking about other stuff, and you can do that. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying if it's not necessarily forwarding the big picture, I don't know how super helpful it is, but it's hard because there's a lot of people waking up in different ways. So, again, you do you feel it, and I'm going to try to help from my standpoint, and hopefully we all meet in the middle in a really cool kind of way. I pray, anyways. That said, we've got a live show coming up tomorrow with the Lav One. That's 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. And we've got the live music show coming up 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. That's on Friday. And we got some good stuff picked up. It's pretty much going to be an 80s show. Just good boppy kind of. It was inspired by Graceland. I don't know. It's kind of all in that sort of general genre. It's a lot of fun. It's going to be good stuff. And we've got a great community that I think you guys will enjoy if you hop into the chat. All said, we're going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to keep trying my best to help out. And I hope you guys continue to make ripples in many places as possible. Yes, that said, what we do, we're doing it together. Where we go one, we go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle.